Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, families in Kern County and Porterville are left devastated after a horrific library fire claimed the lives of 2 firefighters who rushed into the flames. We're live this morning outside the charred debris with the latest on how these heroes are being remembered.
Bakersfield City Council considers several high-profile projects, including whether to put body cameras on more police officers and funding that could help house the homeless. We'll have the latest from the meeting.
Hello to Bakersfield. I've heard a lot about Bakersfield.
President Trump continues his tour of the western U.S. after his visit to Bakersfield yesterday. He's waking up in Las Vegas this morning. We'll have a look ahead at his agenda and a recap of the visit that brought out thousands on this Thursday, February 20th, 2020. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. A very long day yesterday for everybody who was in that hangar.
You were in that hangar as well. Talk a little bit about what it was like for you to be in there and see, the thousands that showed up. Yeah,
they came out. Some of them started lining up around 8:30 in the morning. And they were let into the hangar around 10:30. Of course, the president didn't touch down till around 2:30, I would say, in Bakersfield. But everyone was in very high spirits. Like I said, we kind of thought of this. It was touted as a meeting with local farmers, but it's very much more the feel of a campaign rally. Everyone in their MAGA hats and shirts, right. And very excited for the visit.
So we'll have more on that story coming out throughout the morning. But first, we're taking a look at your forecast on this Thursday. And weather was great yesterday, and it looks like we're going to have another warm day again, Kev.
Yeah, some folks said in the hangar it was a little warm. It was probably because we were in the upper 60s, lower 70s yesterday. Our high 70 degrees. Normally we should be right around 64 this time of year. Record high 85 set back in 1977. We sit at 44 degrees right now in Bakersfield under a calm wind. We are going to see some changes as we head into this afternoon. A little bit of a breeze picking up, but it is going to be another warm day. By 3 o'clock, I'm looking at 78 degrees. We should see a southeast wind right around 14 at that time. 37 in Tehachapi right now. You have an east-southeast wind at 10. The winds are expected to pick up a little bit today, and that's why we've issued a wind advisory for the Kern County mountains. And as we take a look at the temperatures for today, starting out in the 30s and then 60s as we progress into the afternoon. We'll talk much more about your forecast coming up, but first, let's get a check of the morning commute with Alex.
All right, thanks so much. And taking you outside for the first time this morning, here's a look at the 99 at Airport Drive. And as you can see, things are looking pretty good on that side of town. Everything else around the county looking pretty good for the most part. And we will have another check of your morning commute coming up in about 15 minutes. It is 5:03 now and breaking overnight from that deadly library fire in Porterville on Tuesday. This morning we've learned the Porterville Fire Department has recovered the remains of the second firefighter who died in the blaze.
The city's left grieving after the loss of these 2 heroes, as is much of Kern County, as we learned one of the firefighters grew up in Delano. The deadly fire was just north of Kern in Tulare County. The library is about an hour drive from Bakersfield. And that's where we find 17's Taylor Schaub live this morning. He's outside the charred debris that used to be that library, and he joins us now with these late-breaking details. Taylor.
Good morning. It took nearly 55 firefighters in 12 hours to put out this deadly blaze. And I'm going to step out of the shot as you can take a look behind me. A lot of the main roads here are still closed off as firefighters continue to clear through the rubble. And the community mourns the loss of fallen fire captain Raymond Figueroa, as well as fellow firefighter Patrick James. Figueroa has ties to Kern County. According to our sister station KC, Figueroa grew up in Delano and had recently moved to Bakersfield. The Porterville Fire Department says the fire captain has been with them since 2007. Meanwhile, the 25-year-old Patrick Jones had just started his career in Porterville 2 years ago. His body was found just after 11 o'clock last night after hours of searching through the rubble. Jones had recently gotten engaged and was excited for his upcoming wedding. Officials believe the fire started in the kids section of this Porterville library just after 4 p.m. Tuesday. The public library, which was built in 1953 did not have a sprinkler system, and those closest to the two firefighters say they were both selfless people who always put the safety of others ahead of their own. President Trump expressed sadness for both men and their families during his stop in Bakersfield yesterday, and two teens have been arrested. They've been charged with arson and manslaughter. It's unclear whether they will be tried as adults as of right now, but the entire fire department here in Porterville is grieving. They have the next 3 days off as other fire departments from around the Central Valley are coming in to help out, as well as a couple, Kern County and Bakersfield Fire will be here as well helping out. Live in Porterville, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
All right, thanks so much, Taylor. And here at home, you may have seen flags flying at half staff at fire stations. Both the city and county fire departments lowered them in memory of Fire Captain Raymond Figueroa and firefighter Patrick Jones. Those departments both offering help to the Porterville Fire Department, as Taylor just mentioned. BFD released this statement that reads in part, the Bakersfield Fire Department extends our deepest condolences to the members of the Porterville Fire Department and their loved ones. It goes on to say they're sending a fire engine to Porterville. We confirmed with Kern County Fire they sent a fire engine as well.
It was a historic day in Bakersfield yesterday as President Trump made a stop in the Golden Empire to talk water policy.
The president was accompanied by Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy, Representative Devin Nunes, and Secretary of the Interior David Bernhardt. 17's Eitan Wallace has local reaction and more on the legislation the president signed.
President Trump was on the ground for about an hour, but during that time, he was met with cheers and signed an official action document he says will provide more water to farmers. Welcomed with thunderous applause, President Donald Trump stopped in Bakersfield Wednesday, his first such visit since taking office. Roughly 3,000 people filled the Jayco hangar at Meadowsfield Airport to see the president.
Hello to Bakersfield. I've heard a lot about Bakersfield.
He also said he's heard a lot about Kern County's ag industry, one of the main focal points of his speech.
I'm thrilled to be here today as we take historic action on behalf of our incredible farmers and ranchers, growers, and communities throughout the Central Valley.
Specifically, that action was in the form of this, an official presidential signing to enact new water policy. The new policy calls for the diversion of water from Northern California to farmland in the valley. Local farmers and attendants like Jenny Halterman said the policy will benefit farmers.
I want to thank our president for cutting regulations and supporting the American farmer.
For their part, environmental advocates argued the president's policies could hurt endangered fish species living in some Northern California waterways. But the president says the new policy would invite scientists to examine and determine how the species would be impacted. House Minority Leader and Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy says the new policy is a win-win.
The biggest challenge we have in this valley is really water for our livelihood. And he was able to use new science, because the past science was very old, and it actually protects the fish more while providing more water to the valley for the livelihood.
As for the president's visit,
we're going to get you your water.
Those in attendance came away ecstatic.
Love it, 4 more years. He's just doing what he promised he would do for the farmers and the people in the Central Valley.
God bless the American farmer. God bless America. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, to the question a number of people are wondering, does the president plan to return to Kern County? Well, I asked Congressman Kevin McCarthy that very question. His answer? He thinks so. In studio, Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
President Trump continues his swing through the southwestern U.S. After leaving Bakersfield yesterday, he headed to a campaign rally in Phoenix. Last night, the president was greeted by thousands of cheering supporters as he walked on stage. The rally took place at the same time as the Democratic debate in Las Vegas. President Trump won Arizona in the 2016 general election, and he looks to repeat in 2020. You can find all of our coverage on the president's West Coast visit on our website, kget.com.
Well, first President Trump, now Senator Bernie Sanders.
Where in Kern County you can feel the burn tomorrow.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News with Maddie Jansen, Alex Fisher, and Kevin Charette with your Pinpoint Doppler forecast. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
Welcome back here at 520. Delano's taking another step in fighting crime. Last night, the Delano City Council unanimously voted to purchase new security cameras for the city. 20 more surveillance cameras will be added to different areas of the city. The city council says it's a way to better monitor crimes that might happen.
From surveillance cameras to body cameras, the Bakersfield City Council approved mid-year budget appropriations for the police and fire departments, including new body cams. 737,000 of them, of the $5.4 million in Measure N funding, will be used to purchase body cameras for Bakersfield police officers later this spring. Last September, the department teamed up with Axon Enterprise to phase in those cams for all sworn officers and uniformed police civilian personnel assigned to field duties. The first phase consisted of 210 cameras, and now 215 more cameras are on the way. The city will also spend $320,000 for 2 new fire engines. The city wants these in place by the start of next fiscal year. And the department is working to expand with 6 new engineers and 6 firefighters that will serve as rescue squads. The city council also voted to allocate $822,000 to help improve service for the homeless. The bulk of the money will go to Kern County for its new homeless shelter on M Street. The rest of the money will support the city's shelter on East Brundage Lane.
A boil water notice remains in effect for the city of Arvin. The Arvin Community Services District says there was a mechanical failure at 2 of its 3 active wells. That caused a drop in water pressure in the district's water system. If you lived in the affected area, you're advised to use boiled or bottled water for drinking and cooking and for brushing your teeth. They also ask you use less water while they work to fix the problem.
Happening today, the Kern County Republican Party is holding its annual Lincoln Day dinner. Senator Lindsey Graham is this year's honored guest. Senator Graham is set to speak at the event. A reception starts at 5:30 tonight at the Doubletree Hotel. Dinner starts at 7 o'clock. Individual tickets cost $250 per person. And Congressman Kevin McCarthy is holding a press conference today on his recently introduced Clergy Act. That's happening at his office at 9 a.m. The Clergy Act proposes a 2-year window on pastors and priests who can opt in to Social Security benefits. This is because many clergy members opted out of paying into Social Security when they were younger.
522 now. Senator Bernie Sanders is planning a visit to Bakersfield tomorrow. Sanders plans to be at a rally to promote early voting. It's happening at the Spectrum Amphitheater at the park at Riverwalk. It starts at 3:30 p.m. So far, Sanders is the only presidential candidate to stop in Bakersfield, though former candidate Julian Castro visited Delano back in October.
When you think about, we're less than 2 weeks away from the primary election here in California. We've got the Nevada caucuses on Saturday, and I'm sure a lot of those campaigns are going to come into California after those caucuses this weekend.
It's approaching quickly. Still ahead, 2 passengers from the Diamond Princess have died from the coronavirus in Japan. More
on their deaths, plus a full update on the outbreak when we come back.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
526 now. The federal government launching the 2020 census. AARP is warning about phony census phone calls and emails. A new survey by the organization's Fraud and Watch Network found that 47% of adults have been targeted by an imposter scam in the past. Many more Americans are at risk with the pending census questionnaire. The survey found that 70% of people were incorrect or unsure of how the Census Bureau would contact them. 35% said they expect or were unsure whether they would be asked for their Social Security number. The Census Bureau says it never asks for sensitive information. The census will be mailed out to U.S. households in March. A new salon in Bakersfield doubles as a classroom for high schoolers. The School of Cosmetology opened its doors at the Regional Occupational Center. The new program teaches high school students the skills to become stylists and gives them a chance to work on real customers. You can schedule an appointment or walk in for a haircut or other service Tuesday through Friday. The school's located at 501 South Mount Vernon Avenue. Alex.
All right, Maddie, thanks so much. Coming up the next half hour on Sunrise, Democratic presidential candidates faced off in Las Vegas last night. Many of them went after debate newcomer Michael Bloomberg. We'll have more coming up.